Hey everyone, there's something most older women completely miss when they're dating younger men. Something subtle yet incredibly powerful. It's not about how many sweet texts he sends, how often he flatters you, or even how often he calls. It's the questions he asks. These questions may not seem important at first glance, but they carry emotional weight and intention. I'm about to break down 5 revealing questions a younger man will ask when he's genuinely falling for an older woman. And trust me, most women completely overlook these. Stick with me until the end, because the 5th question, that one is the ultimate giveaway of where his heart truly lies. Let's be real for a second. Dating as a woman in her 30s, 40s, or beyond, especially when you're involved with a younger man, can be layered and complicated. There are all kinds of assumptions and stereotypes working against you. Society often projects the idea that younger men aren't ready for emotional depth or lasting commitment, especially when they're with a woman who's older, more experienced, and emotionally evolved. The narrative implies they're only in it for a thrill or for something casual before they settle down with someone younger. But that view is outdated and, frankly, lazy. According to a 2022 study conducted by the Pew Research Center, around 8% of heterosexual relationships in the United States involve a woman dating someone younger than her. While that figure might not sound huge at first, it's nearly double what it was just a decade ago. That's not a coincidence. It reflects a cultural shift where more women are choosing partners based on connection and compatibility rather than age, and more younger men are attracted to the confidence, emotional intelligence, and presence that older women naturally embody. Still, despite this rising trend, many older women don't know how to tell when a younger man is genuinely invested in them emotionally. You might get swept up in the way he looks at you, the compliments he gives, or the flirtatious messages he sends late at night, but none of that truly tells you whether he's serious. The true signal lies in the kind of questions he begins to ask you as he opens up. Men often express emotional investment and attachment not only through what they do, but through the thoughtful, often vulnerable things they ask. These questions come from a place of curiosity, trust, and emotional desire. And here's the risk. If you don't pick up on these cues, you could misinterpret his level of interest. You might pour your time, energy, and emotions into someone whose heart isn't fully in it. Or worse, you might overlook a man who's trying to genuinely connect with you on a deeper level. Because in relationships, especially those with an age difference, communication isn't just about words, it's about emotional depth and timing. So why do so many older women miss these signs? The answer lies in what we've been taught to look for. We've been conditioned to focus on external behaviors. Did he show up on time? Did he remember your birthday? Did he post a picture with you? And yes, those actions matter. But when it comes to emotional readiness, especially in a man navigating his feelings for a woman who might challenge his emotional maturity, what he asks becomes far more telling than what he says in past. A fascinating study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships in 2020 followed 127 heterosexual couples who had at least a 7-year age gap. The researchers tracked these couples over 2 full years, exploring communication patterns, emotional growth, and long-term relationship satisfaction. What they discovered was eye-opening. Younger men who initially displayed confidence through physical affection or romantic gestures eventually revealed their emotional investment through the types of conversations they initiated. The couples who had deeper emotionally forward conversations early on, where the man asked personal, future-focused questions, reported a 35% higher satisfaction rating after 18 months compared to those whose conversations stayed light or surface level. That tells you something crucial. Questions matter. Not just any questions, but the ones that peek into your world. The ones that show he's not just attracted to your appearance or your confidence, but to your soul, your mind, and your future. And if you pay close attention to those moments, you'll get a front row view of how deeply he's falling for you It's not always easy to spot. These questions often come unexpectedly. In the middle of a calm conversation, or as you're lying in bed together, or maybe during a quiet dinner when you're both just being yourselves. But they stand out because they come from a place of honest connection. So let's not waste another second. Let's look at the kinds of questions that carry emotional weight. These aren't routine or polite. They're personal. They're curious. They show that he wants to know not just what you're doing today, but what kind of life you're building and whether there's space for him in it. Here's one to look out for. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? Now, at first, this might seem like a simple, practical question, but if a younger man asks you this, it's not just small talk. He's trying to understand where your path is heading. He's wondering if your vision for your future is something he can fit into or grow with. This question shows he's not just thinking about the present moment. He's imagining a future, and he's curious if he belongs in it. It also tells you something about how he views you, not as someone he's passing time with, but as someone worth building something meaningful with. The next type of question you might hear sounds like this. Have you ever thought about living somewhere else or starting something new? Again, it sounds casual, but it's incredibly revealing. A man who's just enjoying the ride won't care about your dreams or your personal evolution, but a man who's falling for you wants to know your desires beyond your current life. He's trying to get inside your mind, understand what excites you, and discover how adventurous or open you are to new possibilities. It's not about geography. It's about emotional openness. Another one might be, what was your childhood like? This one hits deeper. When a man asks this, he's not just passing time with conversation. He's seeking emotional intimacy. He wants to know what shaped you, what hurt you, what made you strong. This type of question is personal, vulnerable, and often a sign that he wants to understand you beyond your smile or your body. And when you answer, if he listens intently, it's because he's falling not just for the woman you are now, but for the full story that made you. You might also hear him ask something like, do you ever think about having kids or starting a family? Now, this question doesn't mean he expects you to say yes or no in any specific way. It's not about pressuring you. It's about seeing how aligned your life visions are. For a younger man to ask this shows he's thinking beyond the here and now. He's looking down the road and trying to understand what love, commitment, and family mean to you. That's not casual interest. That's real emotional depth. And then there's the most powerful question, the one most women completely overlook. How do you want to feel in a relationship? Not what kind of relationship, not what qualities you look for in a man, but how you want to feel. That question is emotional gold, because when a man asks this, he's telling you something deeply important. He's saying, I want to make you feel that way. I care about your emotional reality. I care about your inner world. And that is not something men ask lightly, especially younger men who are still discovering their own emotional range. So if a younger man is asking you questions that explore your emotional world, your hopes for the future, and your inner experiences, pay attention. Those questions are like breadcrumbs leading to his heart. You don't need to second guess everything he says or analyze every gesture. Just listen for the sincerity behind the curiosity. Because when a man falls in love with an older woman, it's rarely about flashy declarations. It's about quiet moments of emotional curiosity, thoughtful questions, and a deepening desire to really know her. And when you catch those signals, when you truly hear them, you'll never again wonder where his heart stands. But it carries real weight when it comes from a younger man. When a man isn't truly serious, he tends to keep conversations limited to the present, like deciding where to grab dinner, what movie to watch, or what plans to make for the weekend. These surface-level discussions are safe, convenient, and don't require vulnerability. But when he starts to ask you about your long-term ambitions, where you imagine yourself in 10 years, or what kind of legacy you want to leave behind, he's doing more than just making conversation. He's mentally testing what it would look like to include you in his future. A 2019 study conducted by the University of Kansas revealed that men who asked future-oriented questions early in the dating process were 43% more likely to pursue meaningful long-term relationships compared to those who didn't. That's not a small margin. It suggests a significant psychological shift. If he's asking you these kinds of questions, he's not just curious, he's visualizing. He's seeing if your dreams could possibly align with his. He's picturing what life might look like, not just over the next few weeks or months, but over the next several years. And by the way, if this is already hitting home for you and you've ever been left wondering, why did he suddenly pull away when things were just starting to feel good? You're not alone. That confusion is exactly why we created something for women like you. It's called the 7-Step Male Mind Decoder, and it unpacks exactly what's happening inside his head, even when he won't explain it himself. You'll learn how to interpret his behavior, identify real signs of commitment, and stop the cycle of self-doubt. The link to download it is in the description, and yes, it's completely free. Now, let's move to the next question that carries real emotional weight. What was the most important lesson your last relationship taught you? At first, it may sound like small talk, but it's anything but. When a man is genuinely falling for you, he doesn't just want to know what you do for fun or what kind of music you like. He wants to understand your emotional story, not to judge you, not to hold it against you, but to understand where your heart has been and what shaped it. Emotionally mature and available men understand that our past informs our present. They know we don't just arrive at this moment without carrying memories, scars, and victories from everything we've been through. If he's serious, he's going to be curious about the lessons that shaped your expectations. He wants to know what cracked your heart open, what helped it mend, and how you now define connection, safety, and intimacy. According to clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula, one of the most reliable signs of genuine romantic intent is a man's willingness to engage in conversations around emotional history. If he's asking about your past relationship lessons, he's really asking two things: what kind of emotional wounds you may still carry, and whether he can live up to the standards those experiences have taught you to set. But even more telling, it means he's not threatened by your age, experience, or complexity. He respects them. He sees them as part of what makes you compelling. Another question that might slip under the radar but carries incredible depth is this: how do you like to spend your time alone? On the surface, this might seem like a casual or even irrelevant topic, but it reveals far more than it lets on. Most men who aren't emotionally invested only care about the time you spend with them. They're focused on planning dates, figuring out your weekend schedule, and asking the typical "what do you want to do tonight" kind of questions. But a man who is falling for you in a deeper way wants to know the version of you that exists when no one's watching. He wants to understand who you are when you're not performing, not dressing up, not trying to impress. This question is about discovering your inner rhythm, your authentic way of unwinding, and the parts of you that are only visible in solitude. Psychology Today published a study that found one of the top predictors of long-term compatibility is mutual respect for each other's solitude, how you recharge, how you process the world, how you protect your own space. If a man is asking this, he's not just attracted to the woman who shows up for dinner in heels. He's falling for the woman curled up on a Sunday morning in sweatpants, hair tied up, sipping coffee with a novel in hand. And that matters. That means something. Now, here's another powerful one. What's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet? This question isn't just playful, it's incredibly revealing. When a man asks you this, he's not just interested in your past experiences or what you've already checked off your list. He's drawn to your potential, your hidden desires, and the dreams that are still waiting for space to breathe. This is a man who wants to know what still lives in your heart, what excites you, what scares you, what you've secretly held back on because life got in the way. It tells you he's interested in being more than just a chapter in your story. He wants to help you write new ones. He wants to support your growth, to be part of your expansion, and to witness the parts of you that are still evolving. When a man leans in with this kind of curiosity, it reflects a deep emotional investment. It says, I don't just want to know who you've been. I want to be part of who you're becoming. That kind of energy doesn't come from someone just passing time. It comes from someone who's imagining a shared journey. These questions may seem subtle at first glance, but they're anything but random. They're windows into how a man thinks, how deeply he feels, and how seriously he's taking your connection. So the next time you hear him ask something that sounds deeper than usual, don't dismiss it. He might not be saying, I love you out loud yet, but through these quiet questions, he's showing you where his heart is heading. And the truth is, it's not always the grand gestures that show a man is falling. It's these intimate, emotionally intelligent moments where he leans in with genuine interest, where he's not just hearing your words, he's absorbing your essence. So pay attention. His questions might be gentle, but their meaning is loud. They speak volumes. And sometimes the deepest confessions are hidden inside the most ordinary words. If you listen closely, you'll hear them. And if you're ready to answer with true softness and strength, then you're ready for the kind of love that builds something lasting. And share those milestones with you. A 2018 survey by eHarmony found that couples who regularly talked about each other's goals and supported them had a 50% higher rate of relationship satisfaction. So if he asks about your aspirations and listens with genuine interest, that's a powerful signal. It means he's imagining himself beside you on that trip to Italy, in the cooking class you've always wanted to try, or simply supporting a dream you tucked away. When a man takes the time to ask and really listens, it's because he's not just interested in the woman you are now, he's curious about the woman you're still becoming. That kind of curiosity is emotional intimacy. It's his way of saying, I see your potential and I want to be part of it. Not every man does this. Most won't, unless they're thinking long term. Because when a man's just passing through, he doesn't invest in your future. But when he starts seeing you as part of his own, his questions become more thoughtful and revealing. And when he begins imagining a life with you, it's not just about vacations or cozy weekends. It's about building something real, something that includes growth and learning to navigate life side by side. That vision doesn't come from infatuation. It comes from emotional commitment. So the next time a man wants to hear your dreams, don't brush it off. That could be his way of saying, I want to help make them come true. And that kind of energy, the kind that supports your growth instead of fearing it, is rare. It sets him apart. It shows he sees your success not as competition, but as something he wants to celebrate. He's rooting for you, not trying to limit you. Now let's talk about something deeper. When he looks at you and asks, how do you feel about love at this stage in your life? That's not small talk, that's vulnerability. It usually comes during a quiet conversation, maybe late at night or on a peaceful walk. He's opening the door to your heart and asking what still lives in there. And let's be honest, it takes courage for a man to ask this. Because your answer could be, I don't believe in love anymore. Or I've been too hurt to open up again. That's hard to hear, and he knows it. So if he asks, it means he genuinely cares about where your heart stands. He's wondering if your idea of love still includes him or someone like him, and he's quietly hoping it does. Relationship expert Esther Perel often talks about how love evolves through life. In her TED Talks and books, she explains that deep connection requires honest conversation, especially after heartbreak, rebuilding, and redefining what love even means. A man who starts that conversation isn't just attracted to you, he's trying to understand your emotional blueprint. That kind of interest is rare. When you spot it, don't take it lightly. It takes strength to meet someone where they are, especially when that place includes pain, doubt, or guarded hope. But a man who asks about love in this way isn't trying to fix your wounds. He's trying to hold space for them. That's love in its early, respectful form. It's quiet, it's patient, and it's real. When a man asks you about love, what it means to you now after everything, you can tell he's not afraid of your scars. He respects them. He sees them as part of your story, and he wants to know if you still believe in real connection, in laughter that lasts, in intimacy that doesn't rely on pretending. That's not a man looking for entertainment. That's a man looking for something real. He's not chasing perfection. He's drawn to your truth. Let's quickly revisit 5 powerful questions a man will ask when he's serious about connecting with a mature woman. First, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? This isn't just about work or retirement. It's about vision and whether your paths align. Second, what was the most important lesson your last relationship taught you? This shows he's not afraid of your past, and he values emotional insight. Third, how do you like to spend your time when you're alone? And that's about respecting your independence and wanting to understand your inner world. Fourth, what's something you've always dreamed of doing but haven't yet? That tells you he's interested in your future, not just your past. And fifth, how do you feel about love at this stage in your life? A question packed with vulnerability, curiosity, and honesty. Now here's the truth. If a man has asked you even 2 or 3 of these, there's a good chance his heart is already halfway invested, whether he's said it or not. But these aren't casual questions. They signal something deeper. He's checking quietly if you're emotionally available for what he hopes to offer. And even if you didn't realize it at the time, now you'll know what to listen for. Sometimes these questions are subtle, woven into conversation over dinner or a late night call. Other times they're direct, like a gentle test to see how open you are. Either way, a man asking these things is inviting emotional closeness. He's not trying to impress you. He's trying to connect with you. And true connection isn't built on grand gestures. It's built in these moments, through questions that show he's not just looking at your body, but into your soul. He's listening for what moves you, what shaped you, what you're still learning to believe in. And that kind of listening doesn't come from infatuation, it comes from sincerity. If you've had a younger man ask you one of these questions, don't dismiss it. Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. Sometimes the age gap surprises us, but emotional maturity isn't always about age. It's about presence and intention. A younger man who asks thoughtful questions can be more in tune than someone older who's just drifting through life without curiosity. Because emotional presence is about how someone shows up, not how long they've been on this earth. And you can feel that difference instantly. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more relationship insights, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss a new upload. We're building a community here of smart, insightful women who are done settling and ready for something real. You're not alone in this journey. Every time you show up for yourself by learning, reflecting, or simply listening, you're sending a signal to the universe that says, I'm ready for more, for depth, for connection that feeds my soul. If you're tired of guessing what he's thinking, of analyzing texts and trying to decode mixed signals, maybe it's time for a new approach, one that brings clarity, not confusion. Grab your free copy of the 7-Step Male Mind Decoder. It's helped thousands of women move from doubt to confidence, from emotional exhaustion to clarity, and from dating dead ends to deeply connected relationships. The link is in the description. It's free. And filled with insight. You deserve to understand the masculine mind, not so you can control it, but so you can stop overthinking and start trusting yourself again. Click the link in the description to get instant access. It's free and packed with insights to help you stop wondering where you stand and start building something with someone who truly sees you, someone who values your time, your wisdom, your softness, and your strength. You don't need to shrink yourself to be loved. You just need to be seen by someone who recognizes your light and wants to protect it. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, and for continuing to show up for yourself in love. The right man doesn't just show up with charm. He shows up with the right questions. Questions that bring you closer, that reveal depth, and that make you feel seen, not just desired. So if he's asking these kinds of questions, pay attention. He's not just flirting. He's planting seeds for something real. And real love, lasting love, begins with emotional presence, shared vision, and mutual vulnerability. Never settle for anything less. You deserve not just to be loved, but to be deeply known, to be chosen not just for how you make him feel, but for the woman you are and the woman you're still becoming.